Welcome to the Ravi Padaki Nexus podcast. I'm your host, Ravi Padaki. In this episode, I have with me a very experienced product and technology leader who has built and led several GCCs over his career spanning 3 decades. Please welcome Shivi Mithal.
Hey, thank you, Ravi. It's an honor to be here, and I would love to share whatever I have learned over the last 2 or 3 decades with the audience.
Great, fantastic. Thank you, Shivi. Thank you for taking your time. Just a little bit more about you. Shivi is now the VP and country manager for Mimecast India, a very interesting company for security. He previously built VisionNet in Health Edge with his deep expertise in GCC leadership, product management, AI automation, and high performance team management. So fantastic to have you on the podcast, Shivi.
Thank you.
So, Shivi, I would like to start off with this question that I ask everyone. How do you perceive yourself as a leader?
Sure. See, for me, the leadership first and foremost means being dedicated to a cause, and it could be anything. For example, if you look at Mimecast, I won't be motivated by saying that it's about company profitability, revenue. Yes, that's a motivation factor, but I would rather see myself as somebody who is protecting innocent people from cyber criminals, right? So being dedicated to a cause, trying to do your best in whatever way possible to create an impact on society. That is what a leader means for me, first and foremost. But then it doesn't end there because impact can be created in multiple ways. For me, it's equally important that the people who are with me, they continuously learn and grow. So being a mentor, an enabler, and somebody who brings out the best in people is equally important leadership quality for me.
Great, wonderful. So you had a career spanning 3 decades across product management, delivery, and now you're leading GCCs. What were some of the early experiences that shaped your leadership style?
Actually, that's a very interesting journey. See, if I just go even further back, say class 12th, I was somebody who was always at the back side of the things. Forget about taking leadership, I wouldn't even take up any task, right? Somewhere during my engineering days, I realized that, hey, this is not the way to live life. Yes, I can live like that, but no. So I consciously, first thing I did was to take initiative. It was something as simple as organizing a team dinner followed by a small event in our annual function. Very small success. And I was surprised to see that people were willing to listen, to follow, as long as the instructions were clear and well grounded. That I would say was my first success. Okay, the next biggest thing I remember is getting over my stage fright. I remember during my BTech project when I was called on the stage for first time, for first 2 minutes I actually froze. All right. So guess what? We start our job. We have 50 trainees sitting in a room. There are almost, say, 10 different instructors who have trained us over a period of 2 days. There is senior leadership who is giving us welcome. And then all of a sudden, the instructor says that would some one of the trainees come on the stage and say a few words. I was damn scared, and still I was the first one to raise my hand. Walked up to the stage in front of 20 senior leaders, 50 fellow members, spoke for 5 minutes, gave thanks to everyone, etc. Well, from that time, at least, I haven't really had much of a stage fright. Right. So I would say take initiative, get up and speak. Speech, the way you put forward things is a big factor in how your leadership style plays. Then I would say equally preparing well is equally important for all of us. So if I go and talk to a customer, I have to know my subject matter. Same thing is expected by the team, by any audience. If I don't know my subject matter, leadership is going to be, just words aren't going to lead. That's an unsuccessful leader, I would say. Right. So, and then I started, or I came across a different role. I became the first line manager for the first time. So there, what was important was ability to see end to end that what is the work that we have to do, break it down, have clear, say, work distribution. That was one. Setting up clear milestones, set clear expectations with teams, and then handling their emotions. Somebody says that, hey, I can't do it in 2 days, give me 3 days. All right, but my deadline is 2 days. How do you convince that person? How do you show them the bigger picture? How do you show that if we do this, it's going to create make somebody's life easier. Or even say, give them say alternate compensation that okay, work 2 days till midnight, third day you take full day off. Who cares, right? So that motivating the team, showing them the big picture, that was one learning. The next biggest learning started when I became the second line manager, which was director and above roles, where it's not just one level team directly, but multiple layers. And there I had to learn how to create replicas of myself, right? So the leadership style changed all of a sudden from being a task oriented, outcome driven project manager kind of person to somebody who is a mentor and an enabler who can tell people what the overall vision is, why this is important, how it's going to make people's life easier, or impact beyond organization on society, right? And one of the most important things I have learned is that when we talk about, say, mentoring someone, we have to take a long term view on people. We can't really say that, oh, 1 month happened, this person has, I told him 5 things, the person has just done 3 things. No, no, he's a failure. Change him. No, that will never work. Take a long term view on people. Over 3 months, 4 months, I have seen that 90% of the people learn. So those were some of the biggest moments for me, learning moments for me.
Oh, lovely. Very insightful. Yeah, and you shared that. So it looks like courage plays a big role in this system.
It
Just
does. It does. Yes.
fantastic. You've been described as someone who brings teams together as a single unit. Would love to know the secret behind this culture of collaboration.
Right. Now, this is something that I have been really proud of being able to do, even both at Yodley and at Health Edge, my previous company, and even at my. So, the general idea is people always have different ways of working, they have different motives, goals, etc. For example, if I take a very simple situation, a developer's job is to develop and give the code out as quickly as possible. QA person's role is to find as many defects as possible. They will obviously clash. General idea is bring them together by showing them how we win together, rather than telling that both of you have to fight and let me see who is the winner. No. In general, there could be fights even within peers. One engineering manager fighting with someone else, and I'll share an example which happened a long time back. So there were two friends who were preparing for a joint entrance exam of IIT. They came to me saying that I was their mentor, right? More like a guide. I wouldn't do the actual education, but more like a guide that how do you go about preparing, etc. Both of them talked to me separately that Shivi, I am worried that what if the other person is going to score more than me and get a higher rank? And I said, okay, let's take a hypothetical situation. Suppose you two work separately. Both of you get 25,000 rank, none of you get selected. Both of you work together. One of you gets rank 4,000, one of you gets 5,000. Yes, the person who is at 5,000, that person will hurt, but at least you are way better off than 25,000. It's the exact same scenario I play out when peers clash. Help them understand that we win or sink together.
Very nice. Very nice. We win or sing together. Very nice. So, just moving forward into the next segment, where we're going to talk about leadership in GCCs. Maybe I would like to request you to probably kind of just begin with sharing a little bit more about your role at Mimecast.
Definitely. So maybe a step before, I will just give a brief 2 minute idea of what Mimecast does. So Mimecast is in the business of protecting the human from cyber criminals. So in the past, there have been multiple endpoint protection, which we all of us know as antivirus tools. There are network protection tools, cloud protection tools. So during this whole decades long development, what has happened is human being has been left as probably the weakest point in protection. If you look at, say, any breaches, typically it would start with a human being made fool of through social engineering attack, a malicious URL or QR code, or giving the person an exceptional deal that we will give you, say, 200% return on investment if you follow our advice, so on and so forth. Right? So Mimecast's job is to protect that human being. Then, if I just delve a little deeper on this, there are so many ways. or cyber criminals can reach out to a person, the most common way is typically through emails. So email protection is our bread and butter. Any incoming email being scanned for any malicious attachment, URL, QR codes, and most recently the pure social engineering attacks, which do not have any payload, which means that it's just a play of words. Somebody trying to fool that, hey, I am your CEO, and the email will also look as if it is coming from the CEO, mind you, right? And I urgently need $50 gift cards. Just procure and hand it over to me, right? So there is no malicious URL or QR code here, right? And still, through making use of our Gen AI based natural language processing, we are able to detect when somebody's email is genuine versus when it is a most likely social engineering attack. That is something we detect and protect our customers from. Other areas also, for example, nowadays there are a lot of collaboration tools. For example, SharePoint, OneDrive, malicious content can come in from those sources also. There would be, say, sometimes it's the internal employees or somebody internal to the group or forum who can have a malicious intent trying to push the data out, right? So we can protect any data that is going out of your network or firewalls. Security awareness training so that people continuously learn and never make a mistake. So all those are the offerings of Mimecast. Now, within this, I play a dual role. My first role for which I was recruited was being the country manager for Mimecast India. The first year was almost fully dedicated to this role where I was trying to ensure that we set up the processes right, set up our labor compliance, our tax compliance, those things right. And say hiring process, people were not aware what would be the best way to handle this 2 months notice period because that is something unique to India, right? Candidates don't drop out in other countries. This is something that happens only to us, right? So how to handle those kind of exception scenarios, so on and so forth. My second role, I am also a part of product management group. I report to the chief product officer, Mr. Rob Junker, very knowledgeable and a great gentleman. And my role is being that of a subject matter expert. So I would go and talk to the customers, help them understand what our features are, what is the protection they can expect, why we would be a better choice than maybe our competitors, etc. Also, what the customers are saying, taking that feedback back to the organization and try to see if we have what new feature we would want to develop which can keep us as leaders in this space. So taking the ground level feedback back to the roadmap, to the drawing board, that is also a part of my role.
Got it. Got it. So, what is different now in leading Mindcast versus other GCCs that you have built in the past?
Actually, there is a huge difference. See, my previous GCC, which I started way back in 2019, that was Health Edge. That was pre-COVID era. In those days, geography centric reporting and geography centric structures were prevalent. People, I would say, they wouldn't believe that there could be too much of innovation happen out of, say, away centers, right? A hierarchy was fully within the geography. There would be a project that would be identified somewhere in the headquarters. It would be passed over to the India team. I would have maybe a project manager who would be responsible for delivery. Focus was more on execution, motivating team members, keeping them taking, say, hiring decisions, performance decisions, all that was part of my role. I would say it was heavier towards people management, team enablement, etc. If you look at the post-COVID era, it's not just Mimecast. I would say any GCC that has been set up in post-COVID era, people know that things can be done virtually. And most of the GCC leaders, if you look in today's date, they are playing dual roles, just like I am. For example, you would have a person who is engineering leader and also the country manager. In my case, it's product management and the country manager. So it's more like a T-shaped structure that has become prevalent. In Health Edge, I would say the entire team used to report to me. Here, no, the hierarchy is more function driven. So engineer would report to engineer somewhere else, and it has its own advantages also. For example, earlier India manager having reporting of another country was unheard of. But if you look at cast, I have a director, more than one actually, who have say one team in India, but another team may be based out of Netherlands or Israel or even UK, right? So the hierarchy is defined more purely from the capability perspective. Geography is becoming more and more irrelevant, and I would say it's not so much geography specific, but more global roles. The nature of work has changed. It's more about how much we can contribute to organization strategy, so on and so forth.
Got it. Thank you for sharing that. I think it was very well put. So, having set up and scaled delivery centers at Edge and innovation centers, and now at Mimecast, what are the biggest leadership challenges in running GCCs?
Oh, yes. My favorite topic. See, mostly, let me just put it this way, there is no education system in the world that can make a person understand the rules and regulations of entire globe. Somebody who is, let's take a finance person, for example, or a HR person, the tax laws, the labor laws of US are so completely different from that of India, right? It becomes so the way GCCs are structured now, hierarchy is more functional oriented, not geography specific, which means that somebody sitting in a different country has to take decision about India. What for something as simple as that what should I keep my notice period as, right? Or how much percentage increment should I typically budget for? So on and so forth. There are multiple such smalls. Even say how many number of leaves should I offer to the employees. Those things become extremely difficult to decide. Yes, people hire consultants, but you know what? Consultants give a legally correct answer, not necessarily the optimal answer, right? And the consultants themselves are global consultants. They may have strengths in different countries, not necessarily in India. So I would say primarily wherever local laws come into picture, getting the processes optimal has been the hardest thing for me to do in this new GCC structure. So that's one. Secondly, I would say that when the when the hierarchy was more geography specific, I found it easier to retain people. Because I was being able to connect with them face to face, understand their aspirations, have a maybe a corridor discussion or a discussion over tea, coffee, understand their aspirations, try to see how I can match the work with what they are really looking for. That has become a lot more difficult because of this reporting structure, which is often based purely on video calls. There is hybrid working. We come to office 2 days a week, but for all those whose managers are in outside countries, and vice versa also, we have managers here, their team members may be in outside countries. That personal touch has gone missing, and to that extent, the attrition may be just a little bit higher than what I was able to manage in a geography specific reporting or the older structure of CCs.
Got it. Got it. So, what advice would you give leaders who are just starting to establish a new GCC in India?
I think the most important is that they should understand the pros and cons of each model. Please note, I'm not placing one model over another. See, in the today's structure, the functional unity is very tight. Uh, uh, the innovation work is possible more easily in this model compared to, say, a decade ago model, right? I think most important is that the organization as a whole and each person working on it should understand the pros and cons of each model and try to see how we can overcome the problem. I would say that is probably the most important advice I can give, and also continuously train people to manage certain situations. For example, say if my manager could be based out of anywhere, do those managers understand what is Indian culture? What are the aspirations, growth aspirations? What is the kind of work that people in India look for? Those kind of training should happen on a continuous basis so that we cut out both the cons of this model and take what is the best.
Okay, got it. Got it. So, how do you measure success in a GCC beyond cost and scale? What metrics really matter?
Well, cost and scale, those two are basics. But yes, I would also measure the quality of output, typically through production defects. In the new world, which means the current way where the global rules are prevalent, I would also see what is the how many innovation ideas that came into picture from our teams, geography specific teams, or even otherwise, and also look at the business value that the teams have been able to bring, and not just so. Let me put it this way: a decade back, I used to measure the story point throughput, the done index, and the post production defects. Right, in today's date, I would try to measure the business value delivered, the new ideas proposed, which both what how many have been proposed and how many have been accepted for rollout or implementation and rollout. Defects still remain as one of the parameters.
Excellent, excellent. So, should be moving on to the next segment where we will talk about AI. How is Mimecast using AI in cybersecurity?
That's actually a great question. See, Mimecast, we are very, very passionate about adopting AI. I would just give an example. See, first of all, I believe that any leadership who is looking at adopting AI, they themselves have to be passionate about it. One way is just telling others that, guys, we have this brand new technology, very powerful, go use it. But look at our CEO. He didn't need to, but he himself developed three agents to make his work easy. Once he showed those agents to us, the adoption throughout Mimecast shot up like anything, right? That's leading by example. So, having said that, we have adopted AI in almost every function, be it HR, be it sales, be it support, product development, definitely. I think some of the places where I would like to highlight our success, the highest success we have got is in the support function. So, we measure success by something we call as deflection rate, which means that how many tickets I was able to resolve without any human intervention. So, in our support function, we have been able to achieve nearly 50% deflection rate, which means that some of the simpler tickets we are able to resolve just by using our AI agents. Right. The next biggest use case is on the sales side. So, ability to identify which is the best lead on which the salesperson should focus the effort, right? And that could be based on multiple parameters, that how much interest is the organization shown, what is the kind of questions they are asking, what is the organization size, which industry they are working on, and many other parameters. We leverage them and try to say stack rank the sales leads, go after the ones that are really say more plausible. Right, that's one. Secondly, even for content generation, earlier we would say have fixed flyers, data sheets, etc. But in today's date, we have the ability to customize our data sheets based on the questions the customer is asking. One customer is asking more on, say, advanced business email compromise. Okay, we will still keep the standard content, but we will just highlight the BEC content. That somebody else is asking more on URL protection. We will highlight that content, right? So through customizations, we are able to create flyers which the customers would found more relevant for their needs. Right. That's a couple of best sales use cases. And in product, again, this is where product is our bread and butter, right? We are a SaaS-based product organization. So as I mentioned, one of the best use was to come up with advanced business email compromise, which we are using AI to identify the social engineering attacks. So earlier, this kind of detection was keyword based. That if somebody has mentioned bank account, somebody has said, "Give it to me urgently," so on and so forth, we would try to see that hey, this email looks like a social engineering attack. In today's date, thanks to Gen AI's capability to interpret language, we can very easily detect what is the intent behind the incoming email, and our effectiveness of identifying social engineering attacks have gone up significantly once we leverage this. Similarly, the training videos that we created, earlier it has to be say multiple human beings coming together, recording sessions, then uploading them, editing them, uploading them in our training portal, etc., which then our end customers can finally consume, right? But in today's date, we are heavily leveraging AI. Say a new kind of threat comes in today. Tomorrow, my concept is ready. With the help of AI, within a week, I release the training material. And we are trying to shorten that cycle, right? The ideal stage is the AI detected, the next day my training module should be ready.
Wow, I mean,
right? So those are a couple of use cases in the product, but there are many more use cases. Our general guidance from our leadership is that every feature that you are, say, enhancing or developing from scratch, think that if you had AI, how will you do it differently? That's the general guide.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. What's different about today's AI-driven automation?
So, first and foremost, it's so easy to use. It's almost as if I'm just talking to another human being, right? That has put this new technology within everybody's grasp, right? And to that extent, the impact it can create is much wider, much more easy to adapt. Uh, Kids started using it within a couple of months of ChatGPT release, right? But I think when we think of long-term possibilities, or let's say how we are thinking about it in products, with earlier features were more static in nature. I would have a very strong set of rules, and that is how the function would perform. But now, whenever I'm thinking about a feature, I have to be aware that there is an ability to learn. The machines have the ability to learn. So today it may be good. Tomorrow, can I build in some kind of self-learning features which will make my feature better and better and better? Right? And that I would say is the most fundamental shift of, I mean, I'm coming in as a product manager, right? The way I think, it's no longer a fixed static set of features. I have to think about features that can benefit from this ability to learn and give better and better results with every passing day, month, and year to the end customers. It's not easy. If you ask me, my first solution still comes out as same fixed static ones. And then I would think, no, no, let me just rethink on it. And then after several iterations, I begin to see how I can leverage AI. So it's not an easy shift, but it's very much a required shift.
Got it. Got it. So, how should leaders balance human judgment and AI decision making, especially in high stakes environments?
Very valid question. And it is something that I have been at the receiving end of also. Why I say that, I have been in many situations where the machine would take, and I'm talking about a pre-AI era, right? Where some algorithm is coded in an app, machine is taking a decision, and I'm screaming at the top of my voice to the call center, to the person who is coming in front of me that, hey, your machine has interpreted wrongly. This is what I'm looking for. They would take notes, and still the result I would get in the end is the wrong one, right? So personally, I believe that whenever we develop feature, see, first of all, we should know that AI is not perfect. It may never be perfect. There will always be 1%, maybe 0.1%, maybe 0.01% chance of error. Yes, you can say that human beings make more error, but human beings, at least the two people sit in front of each other, they discuss and they conclude. I would say in any high stake environment, we should always have at least one manual checkpoint. Just like, say, in today's date, I would say that if I feed a lungs X-ray to a AI agent, it can identify the symptoms of cancer better than a doctor. But I should not let AI decide that this is cancer. Let the doctor take that call because doctor will take many more parameters into account beyond just the X-ray to come up with the final conclusion. Right. So I would say always have that manual checkpoint, and yet don't let people say that I will not adopt AI because it's prone to fallacy. Keep keep asking people to adopt it more and more. Track matrix, AI adoption matrix, how many people have logged into the AI tool that the organization has given on a daily basis, how many questions they have asked, so on and so forth. So it has to be both ways, right? We should promote the use of AI and yet have a manual checkpoint before every critical decision.
Excellent. So, what new leadership skills will be non negotiable in the next decade as AI becomes ubiquitous?
So one of them is an age-old one, that is measurements. AI in the end, it will not be successful in every scheme of life. There will be some areas where it will be very successful, some others it may not work. So I think just as we have always done, be clear of what are the outcomes we are looking for, keep measuring them, and wherever it's not working, either rethink or skip that. Maybe circle back 2 years later, maybe something new would have come up that will make it possible, right? But Don't let your outcome orientedness or measurement suffer. But personally, if you ask me, something that I have felt the impact within a period of, say, last 1 year is that now knowledge is available to me at my fingertips. Earlier, I would take, say, weeks of search to identify or to figure out what a new idea is or new concept is, so on and so forth. In today's date, that whole data is available to me at my fingertips from the best possible sources. This also means that my knowledge-based differentiators are going down. I have learned, I know something today, but somebody else can learn and get the same kind of knowledge far more quickly. So to differentiate myself, I will need to do something extra. And that extra, the way at least I have adopted is I have tried to develop a broader horizon. So so yes, the specific knowledge is easily available. So I go broader and try to see if I can bring multiple things together to create an impact, maybe more efficient process, maybe higher sales possibility or whatever it is. Right? So my suggestion to the audience would be that your focused knowledge is going to be less relevant in the AI era. Broaden your horizon. Make full use of AI where you have to go in depth. Make full use of, say, your breadth of knowledge where you have to create an impact. Then, as I mentioned previously, that when it comes to product management, the ability to think of self-learning features, that is critical.
Okay. Yeah, very interesting points, Shivi. I have to agree with you on that one. Yeah. Okay, so moving on to Gen Z as a very interesting topic, uh, and something that a lot of leaders are finding themselves in different, in new situations. So you've grown teams from scratch to hundreds of people. How different is Gen Z in the workplace?
Right. So first of all, say when I was just completed my engineering, I was told that job is a means to earn your livelihood. It's a black box. You work from 9 to 5, you get some money at the end, and then you spend it on the family. And nothing wrong in it. Our forefathers were in a different situation, different reality, different financial and economic conditions. Maybe this was right. But if you look at today's Gen Z situation, this is no longer reality. People look for fulfillment from their work, right? If they are not doing something meaningful, if they are not learning something new every day, if they are, and learning is just a part of it, right? So what Gen Z, I would say, is looking for something that keeps them motivated, something that inspires them, what they learn, what they earn, and in the end, fulfillment, growth, all these things are very critical for them. I have seen people, and partially I'm also a culprit, that I would probably go for a lower paying job if my job satisfaction was higher there. Right? That's the nature of Gen Z. Money alone cannot attract people.
I see. Okay. So what motivates them and how do you align their aspirations with organizational goals and purpose?
Right. So it is partially overlapping with the leadership style, etc. So in today's date, I would say leaders have to be friends of their team members, a servant leader kind of style. Understand what their aspirations are, what they're looking for, and try to see if you can match their aspirations and what they want to do with what the organization is looking for. 100% match is never going to be there, but what I have seen is even 50% match leads to a tremendous amount of employee satisfaction, much lesser attrition, so on and so forth. Right? Be their friend. Again, I'm repeating this. I had a cabin as early as say, 2012. In 2018, I gave up that cabin that no, I want to go and sit next to my team in their midst so that anyone can walk up to me and ask me anything, anything under the sun. The person may accuse me of taking some foolish decision. That's also fine, right? I want to be approachable, right? And I think that's a leadership style that most of us will have to look for. I even talk to my team members not just on, say, work, but also what keeps them stressed out, or how can they manage their finances better so that they can lead a healthy life without much of issues, right? So I mean, I wouldn't engage team members on for a very long period on personal topics, but there is nothing wrong in spending 5 minutes here and there to give them a simple tip, right? So that's what the whole idea is: more servant leadership kind of style, approachable, friendly, discuss on plethora of topics. Don't get carried away in gossip, right? But yeah, that's a general idea of the leadership in today's date.
Awesome, great, fantastic. So I think we have come to the last segment here, where I'll be asking you more personal questions about your inspiration and so forth. So looking back, who have been your biggest mentors or inspiration for leadership?
Yes, I would say there is a gentleman named Sanjeev Savai. He was the one who hired me at Health Edge, works out of Boston, and he has been, even though I have worked with him for a period of just maybe 3.5 years, I would say maximum I have learned from him. He's been an amazing person to work with, very clear and quick on decision making, knowledgeable about the domain, knowledgeable about technology. I would love to have all the qualities that he has.
I see. Got it. Got it. If you had to give one piece of advice to young leaders who want to run GCCs or large organizations, large global organizations, what would it be?
So GCCs is easier because I have been there, and my advice is same as what I mentioned earlier. That be clear about the way you are structuring your GCCs, the way you are structuring your processes and team structures. Be aware of what their benefits are and what their disadvantages are, and take action to overcome the disadvantage. For example, if you are going in with the today's style where we have more global roles, as I mentioned, that anything that requires knowledge of law, of companies' regulations, becomes a little difficult. Overcome that by taking the right approach, which may be hiring a consultant or becoming one of the experts in that field, so on and so forth, right? So I would say any structure works as long as we are aware of the pros and cons and we do something to overcome the cons. Now, I think your question was slightly broader, right? It was not just about GCCs,
Yeah,
global
global.
organizations. So, well, that's slightly more difficult because you see, the way organization, it really depends on what the aspirations are. See, the global organizations and the kind of roles that we are having in GCCs, they make you expert in a given function. But suppose you have aspiration for your own startup, you will not gain that kind of exposure there. Say you may be excellent engineer, you may grow from handling 10-member team to 100-member team to 1,000-member team, but if you don't have exposure to say the sales side, the marketing side, the human resources side, etc., it may be difficult for you to run the whole. To run a startup, for example. So be clear about the rules. It's always possible to do a lateral movement. You can be engineer one day, you can become a product manager another day, as long as the organization permits it, right? Try to gain that exposure. In other words, I would say be aware of what are the rules that GCC offers and what is it that they do not offer. And if your aspirations are more in the side of what is not offered, then do something about it.
Excellent. Excellent. So just one last question, Shivi. So how do you handle stress and carve out moments for reflection?
Okay, so first I would say stress is created by our own mind's habit of assuming the worst possible things and sticking on to the negative, right? So first and foremost, I would tell everyone just meditate for a few minutes. That's a great way to separate the important from the unimportant, necessary from the unnecessary, and reality from imagination. Half your stress will go away there. Then I would say take some practical steps. For example, I very early in my career, in as early as 2008, I did this proper financial planning where I was very clear that what is the amount of money I would need in my life. I considered everything: my dream house, maybe a new car every 12 years or 10 years, children's education, maybe some uh, uh, gifts for them at a later stage in their lives, so on and so forth. And then I created an inflow of funds. First, of course, it was on paper, but then I converted it into reality, where against each goal, I have some money getting accumulated every single month. with my every single monthly salary. And then the amount that is left over and above it, that is my true disposable income, which I can spend anywhere. People would say, yes, that amount was less. For initially, I was a little frugal in my life. But then in today's date, I'm completely stress free from that kind of situation, right? So I would say that first, meditate. Second, just do a proper financial planning. People often try to earn much more than what they really need. It's not required. Definitely not if it is leading you to stress. Third step I would say is treat people right. Another big source of, say, stress is if we are worried that somebody else may do something negative to me. But hey, if I'm upright with others, if I'm transparent, and I always handle things constructively with others, it's human habit to reciprocate in the same way. Remaining stress will go away. Lastly, I would say keep your skills updated. So this is something again I a very innovative use of a product management methodology. I considered myself as a product, and the market research being coming from job portals. I use Naukri.com not to find a job, but to see what are the kind of job offers we have in the market. What is the skill set? Say, if I am looking for a particular kind of roles 5 years down the line, what is the skill set required? With what I am doing, whether it will lead to that kind of skill set or not, and then keep trying to mold my career, even partially wherever possible, to keep myself more and more trained for my jobs that I aspire for. Right. So that I would say was pretty unique. Last but not the least, just keep yourself healthy, eat the right, eat right things, exercise a little bit daily. There you go.
Brilliant. That was really good. And it was very grounded and very practical. And you also been open talking about finances as well. And I think it's going to be very well received by the viewers.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Shivi. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I would like to once again thank you for your time. And anything else you would like to share in closing?
No, nothing as such. I think most important is that people should understand where their passions lie, what they want to do. Keep yourself grounded from a financial perspective. Don't worry unnecessarily. Take care of your health. Everything will follow just right in your life, is what I would say. And once again, before we disconnect, Ravi, thank you for giving me this opportunity.